2025 NFL season. As you can see, I am not alone because look here, guys. A couple of weeks ago, I just decided, to take a day off. And lo and behold, I let, some great friends of mine come in the studio. As a matter of fact, Charles Carter over here, my former producer of mine,
What's going
who
on?
was ran the show when we were in Vegas, him and John. So I invited Charles to come in, and then Charles brought Caleb, his brother, in, and they just took over my damn show. and look, so I'm like, okay, I'm listening to the show, and I'm like, well, I done lost my job. You know the old what was that thing from Friday? How you lose your job on your day off?
On your day off.
Right. So anyway, hey, I brought them back because these guys are good, and we're gonna break down. We're gonna talk about the NBA Finals game 4 last night took place in Indianapolis. We're going to break down what happened in game 4. We're going to break down what's possibly going to happen as the series returns back to Oklahoma City. And John B. behind the glass there is going to take us through this hour. So welcome back to the show, guys.
Man,
Thanks for having us back, man.
Okay, look here. First of all, I didn't know you guys were brothers. When I was listening to the show, man, you guys were just going back and forth like a couple of sluggers, and I was impressed.
Hey, look, when you spend so many years together in the house arguing, when you get in front of a mic, it's just practice.
So Charles is your bigger brother, right,
yeah.
Caleb? Okay. Mm-hmm. Look, Caleb, I'm gonna roll with you because Trojans, man.
Come on.
USC Trojans, man. Man, when I found that out, I was like, oh, hell yeah. If I knew that before, Caleb, I probably would have invited you instead of Charles.
No loyalty, huh?
No loyalty at all. You see how they do the producers, John?
On, man.
You see how they do us?
No,
Trojans got to rock together.
I'm just, happy to have you guys here, man. And look here. Okay, let's just talk about what happened last night. So what was the final score? 111 to 104?
Yeah, 111
And here's one of those things, okay, if you guys notice this, you hold Indiana to under 110, you can win. Mm-hmm. If they win, if they score 110, they're going to win a game. But last night was one of those games. Charles, tell me, what did you see? Because I'm going to tell you what I saw. But tell me what you saw in that game last night that got Oklahoma City that win.
Initially, what I saw, and before I even get into it, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And what's been going on with my mental health is this series is that I can't make any sort of decent prediction on this. I initially, like on our last one, you let us take over, we had OKC kind of running the board. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was, in all honesty, I didn't even want to play. I wanted the Knicks because I thought New York back in the finals was going to be a fun thing, going to be a fun time. It'd be cool to troll the New York fans for a little bit. But what I saw in this was that no matter what the Pacers did, and the stadium was definitely involved in the game. That crowd was insane.
Yeah.
Every time the OKC made a turnover, a mistake, they missed a three, the crowd was up, they were involved, and they were distracting. And so, but that didn't deter them. They came back in the fourth quarter. Shea got it together, even though he was kind of held down the first half and a lot of the third quarter. He bounced back. And so what I kind of just saw from that was that they're in the finals for a reason. They were the best defensive team in the league for a reason. You know what I mean? He's the MVP for a reason. We can't just overshadow him because, Halliburton is kind of taking over. He's become a superstar now. Right. And it's like, it's hard to not ride that wave.
You giving him that superstar title?
I have to now.
Okay.
How about y'all? I mean, how do y'all feel about Halliburton?
I mean, I would say Halliburton, he's put himself on that tier. I want to see him be a little bit more consistent in the regular season and in the playoffs, because I think what we've seen from him is these clutch moments in the playoffs, every series against the Bucks, against the Cavs, against OKC, against the Knicks. And we say, man, this dude got something special. Mm-hmm. But I just want to see it a little bit more consistently from him, because, I mean, I felt like yesterday there was some times where he kind of got invisible on the court. Yeah. I was kind of like, okay, Halliburton, I kind of need you to feel that impact. And I feel like, honestly, that was the reason why they lost. I think had Halliburton kind of took over a bit more in the fourth, like SGA did for the Thunder, I think they probably would have had a chance to win that game.
Yeah, look, I'm okay with the superstar title because, look, he has knocked down some clutch shots and look, cannot wait to Monday night to see what he can do. But I think the verdict was out. I think Mark Daigneault and the Thunder defense, give it up to the Thunder defense that's been invisible for the most part, right? Because they knew they could not go into that fourth quarter. They did everything they needed to do to make sure Halliburton was not going to be the reason why they lost that game. John? Oh, John, I think John disappeared on us. But what I mean,
Even-
would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And even with that, so I know early on in the game, we saw that they were limiting Shea's minutes early on. And so I think that was a great coaching adjustment because they weren't doing that early on in the series either. You know, they let him play for the most part for the full first quarter. They might take him out maybe 2 minutes towards the end, but this time they spaced out his minutes a lot more, so he had that burst for later in the game when they really needed it.
I mean, to that point on the broadcast, they said that for 9 straight games, Shea had played the entire first quarter. This was the first quarter. This was the first time he sat in the first quarter.
Well, I mean, look, if you ask me, for the most part, I thought, and I've said this on my Sports Kings podcast, that I thought Rick Carlisle had did a great job of out coaching Mark Daigneault. But last night, I think Daigneault got the better of it. He went back to what has worked in the previous rounds. He started Hardenstein. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't think that was such a big factor because Hardenstein's not going to come out there and just take over offensively on the game, but it gave them that size right away. And look what it resulted. I mean, he went back to that and it worked.
Yeah. And for the Pacers, I'm not necessarily sure I don't know what their expectations are for their bench. Because if they're relying on their bench entirely, like that performance we got from Mathurin in game 3, I hope they're not looking for that every single game.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
We can't, but if you have an aggressive Halliburton like we had in game 3, if he brings that back for the now upcoming game 5, I don't know if that's going to spark something in Mathurin, or if that's going to spark something in Siakam, or is that going to what are they looking for to happen? What kind of ingredients they're looking to put into the pot? But I hope they're just not expecting this from the bench every time, because that performance off the bench is not common in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look, how many times has it happened in history of the NBA?
Exactly,
4
right?
or 5 times. I remember when Jason Terry did it with the Dallas Mavericks. I remember that. But look, Caleb, you said it too. Look, okay, so they play SGA in a different way, and they pretty much had to, because the Pacers defense has just been hounding.
Yeah.
And look, and we heard fatigue came up, was mentioned in a couple of games. So by playing them the way they did last night, it actually helped, because how else would he been available for those late fourth quarter heroics?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the Pacers play, you know that they want to get up and down the floor. They want to run. They want it to be a track meet, like you said. If you keep them under 110, then you have a chance.
Yeah.
And what Daigneault did, to his credit, was putting Hardenstein in. You get yourself an effective screener. That way, SGA isn't always having to get around people face guarding him, right? And he's tiring himself out by doing that. But also the effort plays by guys like Caruso. To me, it was the Caruso show last night. I mean, the dude was hustling. He got 5 steals coming off the bench, 20 points. What we saw from the OKC Thunder was them kind of saying, okay, look, we are the number 1 seed. We were the wire-to-wire best team in the league. Let's show everybody why.
Yep, indeed. I'll tell you what, we're going to continue to break down last night's game, get a little bit more in the X's and O's of basketball. And, of course, we will, you know what, I want to talk about the Knicks coaching search, because it has become like the laughing stock of the NBA right now. And yeah, it's just unbelievable. So, hey, stick around, folks. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here with Caleb and Charles on ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
Now back to Mean Gene, broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
You and Dub went to that two-man game late in the game. Seemed like you guys made the right decision every single time. Can you just talk about the benefits on getting to that two-man game, getting those mismatches with Dub specifically?
Yeah, we've worked on that over the course of the last couple of years. Both of us can do multiple things with the basketball: shoot, pass, handle. And we try to just play off our instincts and play off each other, be aggressive, to make the right basketball play. And if we do so, we usually end up with a pretty good shot because of the players we are. But yeah, we've worked on that over the course of time, and it showed up big tonight for sure.
About when he says two-man game?
Man, everything he was saying, it just sounds like cohesion. Like, you know, with these two teams, like, okay, yes, Shea is the MVP, and Tyrese Halliburton, we just kind of all agree that he is a superstar. But this isn't your typical guys. Like, this isn't your Curry. This isn't your LeBron. This isn't your KDs. This isn't those guys. But what I'm saying is when he was mentioning about the two-man game, he said we trust each other to make the shot. We trust each other to make the right basketball play. These are some guys who've been playing together for a while, and they know each other. Kind of like if you've seen those old clips out there, Steph will talk about this. He was talking about when Clay first got traded. He would make passes on the court that he knew Clay was always there.
Right.
But when he got traded, he wasn't there anymore, so he would have turnovers.
Right.
This isn't that. So these guys are used to playing with each other. They're used to seeing where each other going to be on the floor, what kind of pick and rolls they like to make, where they like to have the ball, and it just sounds like cohesion, man. These guys are used to playing with each other, and they're like feeding into that because you can't predict it. You can't predict chemistry.
Look, I told you guys right before we came in here, and John knows this as well. You know, I picked Oklahoma to win this series. But I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've been rooting for Indiana, and I don't really kind of look at them as an underdog. I mean, look how they win games has just been incredible, and I still give them the edge on coaching. But Caleb, you know, you talked about Alex Caruso, and look, we just saw Mathurin put on a masterpiece performance.
Yeah.
But and they say that role players are supposed to step it up at home. But what we saw Caruso did, it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the playoffs are all about. This is what the NBA Finals are all about, right? Because the old saying is what Eminem say? Knees weak, palms are heavy, palms are sweaty, bombing on the sweat already, mom's spaghetti. People get nervous in the finals. It gets tight in the finals, so you're gonna need different people to step up in different times. What we saw Caruso do. He's been in the finals before, so he kind of brought a little bit of that veteran presence. And to SGA's point, talking about him and Jalen Williams to me has kind of been the surprise of the playoffs to me as someone who hasn't really kept up with the Thunder. Jalen Williams has kind of put himself on my radar as kind of that second option for the Thunder. I mean, the dude's offensive bag. He got a little mid-range in him, kind of just like SGA. I mean, he's got size, so he can really get to any position on the court that he wants. What we've been seeing in these finals, it's been surprising because, like Charles said, I thought the Pacers would get washed, but I mean, what we've seen so far, I mean, I'm loving it.
I mean, could you imagine watching the game last night where the Pacers? You know, they didn't really control the game, but they were right there in it for all three quarters. And the fans certainly, Charles, thought that they were going to be up 3-1. I mean, you could tell nobody in that arena that they were not going to leave that 3-1.
Man, the way the fans went into it, it sounds like they were about to ask the coach to sub them in, you know, and so like they were into it. Like the last crowd I seen, like I know it's the finals, it's a little different. It's kind of to be expected for a home crowd, but you know, it was kind of shades of like what I'm blanking on the name of the Oracle. Of what Golden State's arena was. They were standing up at the 5-minute mark. 5 minutes of NBA game lasts maybe 20 minutes. And they were on their feet the entire time. And so they were making noise for every free throw that they've got. And we can get into that later about how like OKC, they always want to get Shea those free throw shots. And they actually, that plan kind of came full circle for them at the end of this game versus it didn't work last game. And that was kind of the difference. But yeah, they were into it and nobody believed that they were going to walk out with the L. Nobody in that crowd did.
Nobody. And we can get into those free throws because just the in game, I believe it was game 3, it was Oklahoma that kind of faulted with those free throws.
Mhm.
Not early in the games. We don't talk about free throws early in games. We talk
Yeah.
about free throws late in games.
Yeah.
Where Jay Will looked like he was struggling, and then last night it looked like it happened to the Thunder. You had Siakam missing critical free throws. You had Obi Toppin missing some free throws,
Yeah.
and the hero from game 3, Mathurin, missing
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
critical free throws.
Yeah.
I think they shot 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down 2. Indiana was down 2 with like a minute left to go, and then they ended up losing by 7. So I mean, just talking about those free throws, that really cost them. I mean, and in games like this where it's chippy, I mean, to me, this was the one, and I think they said it on the broadcast. This was the one finals game where it seemed like these teams didn't like each other. They were going at it. You saw a couple hard fouls. You saw Obi Toppin and Hardenstein getting in each other's face. So those free throws, they mean a lot, especially like you said at the end of the games. And I mean, Oklahoma City, they made it, and Indiana missed it. So that's how it goes sometimes.
I can only imagine because I think it was Richard Jefferson who was saying that on the broadcast. He was saying that these teams don't like each other now. You're at game 3 now, and now it's like the guys are getting tired of each other. I know when we talk sports now, we don't play NBA basketball. We're not professionals, but I can only imagine if we set up here 7 days out the week, we're talking about the same subject, and nobody's budging on one point. I'm not gonna want to see y'all for the rest of the day. I'm not gonna want to get lunch with you. I don't want to see you at your car. I'm not gonna ask how your people are doing, anything like that. These teams are tired of each other. They've reached that point, and this one is really getting competitive because now they're trying to bury the other teams. Like they want to get the series over, and of course become champions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because it's the way this format is set up, for the NBA Finals. It just seems like they've been playing each other for damn near a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you see each other's their tendencies. The same guy who's been hitting you in the rib has did it 3 days in a row now, and you can't say nothing about it. So it's easy how these guys are like they're getting tired of each other, and it's just easy to see. Now, what did you guys see? And I'm curious about this. Towards the end of the game, right? When what were your thoughts when those clutch free throws were missed for the Pacers? What were your immediate thoughts before the game was in there? I think it was like a minute left or something like that. You were mentioning, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
What were your thoughts towards that, and what did you think that it was over? That the missed free throws sealed it? Because I think they were still maybe down by 2 or 3 points. I want to say.
So for me, what I guess the bigger picture outside of even the free throws was the kind of lack of cohesion that we saw from the Pacers. To me, I don't know why Halliburton just didn't have the ball in his hands more at the end of that game. They started going to Nembhard, and I know Nembhard, he made his shots, and I think it was game 1 when he had a big shot over SGA, and I know he can kind of create his own shot. But to me, Halliburton has been your guy in those late game situations, and you go away from him in game 4. This is the game that really you could end the series right here. You go up 3-1, the series is practically over, right? But you go away from your guy, and what the Thunder did is they say, hey, we're not gonna get fancy with this. We know who our guy is late in game situations. We know who the MVP is. Just give him the ball, and everybody else get out the way, right? So to me, that was kind of the biggest issue that we saw in that late game.
You know what? I'm gonna just steal some comments from Rick Carlisle in the post game press conference. They just became stagnant.
Yeah.
They really did become stagnant. I mean, they sat around. They were not making any shots. You look at Halliburton, where he was making big 3-point shots.
Yeah.
I think he missed like 6.
Mhm.
And I mean, it just wasn't there. I mean, it was almost like they were just standing around watching SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder just pretty much take over that game.
Yeah.
And I think something that hurts the Pacers. Now, granted, we all just deemed Halliburton to be a superstar, but superstar isn't the same as being a closer. Okay. Now Halliburton said in game 3 in his post game comments, he said that the best thing about us is that whoever has the hot hand, we just go to him.
Mhm.
Like it could be me, it could be anybody else. That there is no certain person who just has the ball in their hands. The only problem with that is when you get in situations like last night, like the other night, that happens.
Mhm.
You don't know who to give it to.
Mhm.
If somebody isn't necessarily hot at that moment, who do you go to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Look, another thing that happened too. Look, Oklahoma basically won the game in the fourth quarter. I think we can all
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
yeah.
that. And look, one of the things that if you looked at any of the box scores over the last couple of games, the Pacers have controlled the rebounds. And in that fourth quarter, the Thunder out rebounded them 12-4. And this was, and of course, the free throw struggling from Siakam and Toppin and Mathurin didn't help. So that was just one of those. I mean, they just finished strong. Anytime you finish strong like that,
Yeah.
and give it up to Dagonaut for just having the guts to, like we said, he changed the starting lineup, or he went back to the original lineup.
Yeah.
And then there were moments when SGA played off the ball. Look, you had to do something to where this guy was able to breathe in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't been able to do that when you had Shepard on him, you had Nembhard on him.
Neesmith, all those guys.
So I think that was the key in the game. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you. And I know we'll talk about it later, but boy, heading back into Oklahoma City Monday, ooh, Pacers in trouble.
Yeah,
man, it's gonna be hell to pay. It's gonna be something to pay.
It's tough for me because I think the Pacers really do have a chance. I think because they didn't play their best at the end in that late game, but the Thunder, they go 3 for 16 from 3-point range. That's not gonna happen again, right? So let's say they make, I don't know, half of those that they miss. So that's, you tack on another 20 points from 3-point range for the Thunder. I'm not sure if this game is as close as it was this game. So heading into the rest of the series, as much as I don't want to count out the Pacers, and I think they have earned that right to not be counted out, the Thunder are clearly the better team to me. I think they have the more talent. I think they're more of a well-rounded team. So it's going to be tough heading into Game 5, especially back in OKC.
You just don't get those do-overs. And I think, man, it's just like tasting victory. I mean, we all know 3-1, the series would have been over. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I know games 5 and 7, because of Oklahoma having a better record, would have been in OKC. But you all know, okay, that game 6, who knows? They might have even would have won a game. They won game 1. Who knows? They might have won a game 5. But you have to take care of business, and I just think they missed a golden opportunity. And as kids, we got them do-overs, but I don't know. I mean, I just think they missed a golden opportunity last night.
They did, and with this whole series, for me, I agree with you, Caleb and Jeans. Like, I think that OKC is the better team, the more well-rounded team, right? At least from what I want to say on paper, but the series is tied up. So at least for right now, I'll say OKC is the better team. But for the Pacers, they just burn the hottest though. Their runs, they great in moments. You know what I mean? And those moments are usually put them over the edge.
Yeah.
And it's hard for teams to overcome those runs that they get on, right? And like we seen like early on in the series, like last game, even the game before that, the Pacers turn into what we thought OKC would be defensively sometimes, right? They'll pick them up before half court. They had to sub SGA out early on in the series to save his legs for the end of the game. And this whole series has been a thing of adjustments. And it's hard to predict just because you never know what the coaches are going to do. You never know how the players are going to respond to the coaching that they're going to have.
That's true. That's true. I tell you what, look, we are going to get to the bottom of this hour here. And when we come back, we're going to step away from Game 4, and we're going to talk about the New York Knicks, who are becoming basically the laughingstock of the NBA. We're going to talk about that. I cannot wait to get these guys' comments. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
You're listening to The Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, just another half hour to go here on the Mean Gene Show with Charles and Caleb here. We decided to bring them back. Okay, look here. Sometimes, you know, when people are good, you just have to acknowledge. You guys know I'm not a hater, and I enjoyed that show. I'm still listening to that show, and now I got you guys here in the studio in person, and I've had a lot of people come in here as guests, or even fill in for me and stuff. And but man, you guys really did great, and I look forward to you guys coming back during the football season, because you know what, John? What I realize is that their basketball knowledge is good, but wait till football season, then we really gonna see if they know what the hell they
know
That's
talking
a sport right there.
You know what state we in, right?
Oh, I know.
I was gonna say y'all grew up in Texas.
Exactly.
so-
Yeah,
And-
you know
and-
where we from, right?
It's a religion out
Well,
here,
look,
basically.
now I can tell you one team we don't talk about on this show is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's true.
So now, if
man.
y'all gonna bring those Cowboys up in here, John, we're gonna have to check them at the door. Now, I already know Charles ain't with the Cowboys. But Caleb,
That's like
now,
saying
since you
Voldemort,
his
man.
blood
You don't
brother,
even mention
I
it.
gotta think
Yeah.
that you're not with them either.
No, I get paid to slander the Cowboys. Actually,
All right, look here. We're gonna take a break from the Pacers and Thunder. We're gonna get back. We're gonna break down Game 5 and what we think is gonna happen on Monday night. But other NBA news that's just really, it's becoming a laughing stock, and unless you're a New York Knicks fan, it probably ain't so damn funny, right? But the New York Knicks have tried to get permission to talk to 5 coaches. Okay, this is since they fired Coach Tom Thibodeau after they were ousted in the Eastern Conference Finals by the Indiana Pacers. And Charles, one of the things I said, and John, he's my witness, I said, look, you cannot beat the Celtics and lose to the Pacers and keep your job.
mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
what got him fired, basically.
I can understand that. It's just in the NBA, it's so much give and take. Like I just want to know who was at the table, you know, when all this happened. Because of course Tatum went down, that changed the complexion of that series. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like
So Thibodeau would still be the coach if Boston had beat them.
if Boston had beat them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's true.
He probably still would have been the coach if Boston had beat him. So I mean, it's not his fault. He was a victim of somebody else's.
Yeah.
He was a beneficiary of an injury.
Right, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
you had to beat him. I mean, the man down, as Mark Jackson say, man down, hand down. You got to beat him.
exactly. And so I mean, there's not that many great coaches around the league. You know what I mean? There are a whole lot of good ones, very few great ones. Okay, like so for Tom Thibodeau, we all know what he's done. So 2 Eastern Conference semifinals appearances the previous 2 years, then Eastern Conference Finals lost, and the team that he lost to, meaning the Pacers, we're thinking could beat the #1 overall team in the NBA. That's not a sorry team to lose to.
Right.
Okay. You know, that's not a regular team. That's not by any means necessary. Now, they didn't quote unquote have a superstar until now that we just deemed them, but it was a worthy loss if there even is such a thing. Right. But what did you guys think about his firing, or even not just his firing, the Knicks trying to look for other coaches?
Caleb.
So here's my thing with the Knicks. I'm watching this show on Netflix called Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders is a very good show. If you have Netflix, you should check it out. And basically, it's one of those gang shows about old time England. And basically, it follows this family called the Shelby family, right? And in that show, so you'll walk into a bar, the bar is crowded, right? No room for anybody. They'll say, "Hey fellas, no seats." And then they'll say, "Well, I'm a Shelby." And they say, oh, excuse me. Let me make this table for you, and then we'll have you sit down. Here you go, Mr. Shelby. That's what the Knicks thought they could do. They thought, I'm the New York Knicks. We're the mecca of basketball. We're the most profitable NBA franchise in the league. We can just say, hey, Ime Udoka, I know you're coaching the Rockets, but you should come with us. Hey, Jason Kidd, I know you're coaching the Mavericks, but you should come with us. And what they got in response is, yeah, that doesn't fly around here. The Knicks have not been a good franchise run by James Dolan. It seems like their management doesn't know what they're doing, so they're getting told no by a lot of these coaches, right? You can't just say, "Hey, we're the Knicks, come coach for us." That's not how it works.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now, and don't forget Jason Kidd,
Yeah.
who I'm not really certain what's going on with that one, because it appeared that there was some interest, and I couldn't confirm that Jason Kidd was interested. I mean, it's the New York Knicks. Look, Derek Fisher coached the New York Knicks at one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that job? But, I give it up to these teams for not granting that permission. Now, I thought that Nico Harrison did not tell Jason Kidd that he was trading Luka Doncic. And I thought maybe there was some discord there with like, okay, well, if I'm Jason Kidd, I don't know if I can trust my GM. But I was really shocked that the Mavericks didn't grant Jason Kidd permission because I didn't think if I'm Jason Kidd, I don't know if I can trust Nico Harrison. But at the same time, too, if you're Nico Harrison, you can't screw nothing up again. You already got rid of Luka Doncic, and now you got the number 1 pick. And if you let Jason Kidd go, they're really going to run your ass out of town.
I mean, because here's the thing: if I'm Jason Kidd, here's what I'm thinking about, right? If say the Mavs grant me the opportunity to speak to the Knicks, I'm sorry. If I'm Jason Kidd, the Knicks, you better give me the job, right? Because now I'm talking to a possible employer, right? While already employed. The Mavs, if they're reasonable, they wouldn't want me back because why would a team who allows me to talk to another franchise want me back as their head coach?
In the NFL, we see this a lot, though, right, Charles? I mean, teams grant other, position coaches, mainly position coaches,
main position coaches, or DCs, OCs,
right, to talk to other teams. But I don't know when I've ever seen 5 teams. Chris Finch is one of those other coaches. Quinn Snyder from the Hawks was another one where the organization just said, no, you cannot talk to him.
Yeah.
And usually there's a courtesy thing. Yeah, you could talk to him. We know he's not going anywhere. Sometimes we've even seen where teams come back and give their coach a bigger contract to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere. But with this Knicks thing is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, it's kind of what y'all were both mentioning about, a lot of these coaches aren't really paying homage. Like the pedigree of the Knicks doesn't really mean a whole lot to some of these coaches as of right now, but some of the other teams are still paying that same homage. Like, okay, you can't go talk to the Knicks because the Knicks are the mecca of basketball. They still see them in that light versus current coaches this is a horrible organization. They've been run terribly the past decade. Like, so when they see that and they hear a call from the Knicks, exactly what you said. If I was Jason Kidd, if I was going to the office, okay, I'm coming up here while I'm employed. You better give me the job. Also, you don't even have a lot of options. So you better give me the job. You know what I mean? This is in your best interest. It's not even in my best interest. The Knicks, like I said, they haven't been a great organization. The GM and owner, not the best. You're not going to a great situation.
Yeah.
So you're leaving, trying to make another place better, not going to an already established place, looking to just like give it that final piece.
It gets even tougher, guys, because look, you got to look at where the Knicks are. I mean, Tom Thibodeau has raised the bar.
Yeah.
You got a team that's coming off the Eastern Conference Finals, and you know how the team is put together now. Yeah, you're gonna have to bring in some role players because they had the worst bench in the NBA. But if you let's talk about the new candidates now that have come up in the light. That's former Memphis Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins and former Sacramento Kings coach Mike Brown. If you enter those guys, and even Mike Malone, who was fired by the Denver Nuggets, a championship coach, by the way, if you enter those guys, you really got to think hard about this. Like you said, Charles, you're not just jumping to take this job. And the analogy that you gave, Caleb, you just can't jump and take this job. You got to really look and see what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Because as we see in the NBA, talk to Mike Budenholzer, talk to even Mike Malone, you will get fired.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The NBA, to me, how they handle their coaches, they handle them so cutthroat. It's almost funny. Because Dwayne Casey, he wins Coach of the Year back with the Raptors, and he gets fired. You talk about Budenholzer, he wins a championship. He's next. You talk about Mike Malone. We're thinking they're possibly going on another run this year. Bye-bye before the playoffs even start. So, I mean, the way that the NBA is so cutthroat
Monty Williams.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that the NBA is so cutthroat with their head coaches, to me, you have to survey the landscape before you just jump into anything.
You have to. And I mean, Taylor Jenkins, look, what he did for Memphis, how he built that franchise up. And even Malone, that thing shocked me. And if we were talking during the break, Mike Brown, oh, good Lord. Mike Brown has been disrespected so many times.
Yeah.
I don't know. John, you remember Mike Brown? Mike, do you think Mike Brown should take that job for the New York Knicks?
I mean, it's the New York Knicks, so I would probably take it if I was him. Just saying. But yes, I mean it's not something that you leave like a good solid, where you're happy. If you're happy with the team that you're on, you're not leaving there to go to the Knicks. No.
Like if I was to even take that job, if I was Mike Brown, it would more so just be to stay in the mix
Yeah.
and build up a slight resume, not necessarily look at because Tom Thibodeau did a great job. So it's like how much the only way you can even surpass is to win the finals. That's literally it's either that
you
or
have
you're
to-
a failure.
And
You
next
know?
year's gonna be different.
Exactly.
We haven't even got you got the NBA draft coming up pretty soon. You got free agency, which is supposed to be outrageous this summer.
Mhm.
And the whole complex of the way you see teams now are gonna change. The West is gonna be different, the East is gonna be different. So you got to think about this. But Mike Brown, this guy coached the Los Angeles Lakers, started 0-4, and they fired him. Look, if you're Mike Brown, you still got PTSD from stuff like that. You don't go to the
Yeah.
you just coach one big, LA and New York, everybody knows are the big, money market teams.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you Mike Brown, you probably don't even want nothing to do with that job.
Well,
but-
you can't stop swinging.
no, you can't. But Mike Brown did the Sacramento Kings. He's responsible for just getting that team back to respect now. So he
Yeah.
was a good candidate, in my opinion, Charles.
Yeah. So I mean, go ahead.
No. I was about to say, and they dismantled that right as soon as he left. Unfortunately, now
Yeah.
they're back to nothingness.
Yeah. Just whatever he built, they took apart. So look here, guys. I tell you what. Look, I'm sure this story is not going to. It's for some reason. Mark my word here. June 14th, 2025. I think Jason Kidd is still in the mix.
Wow.
I just think so.
Okay.
I just think Jason Kidd is still in the mix in this. For some reason, I don't know. There's no way it's going to be reported that there was a mutual interest and that just goes away. It could be the end of Nico Harrison, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of coaches out there that the Mavericks could bring in if Kidd walks.
If I'm Jason Kidd, because it's been rumored that Giannis would be interested to go wherever Jason Kidd goes because when Jason Kidd was fired from Milwaukee, Giannis was sad about that, and they have a good connection. So that to me, if I were Jason Kidd, would be the reason to migrate to the Knicks. But I'm sorry, if I'm Jason Kidd, I have AD, I have some young guys already on the team, and then I'm probably getting Cooper Flag this year.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I feel pretty set up right now if I'm Jason Kidd in Dallas. So as much as I like what the Knicks have going in New York, I'm not too sure if it's all that much better than what the Mavericks' future is. I'm not too sure about that.
Can I throw a hypothetical at y'all?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're a kid, right, and you say he has a great relationship with Giannis, would you take the job with the New York Knicks? Unite with Brunson, and if you could possibly trade a cat for Giannis.
If I'm Jason Kidd and Giannis is coming with me, I'm going where Giannis goes.
He's got a good relationship with Bronson too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you get Brunson and Giannis if you're Jason Kidd with the New York
Lord,
Knicks.
yeah.
Would you make that
Go to
happen?
New York?
Yeah, exactly.
In a New York minute, as they say.
Yeah.
I would do it. All right, I tell you what. Hey, we are going to wrap it up here in this next segment. We're going to come back. We're going to tell you who's going to win Game 5 Monday night between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers here on the Mean Gene Show, ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, about to wrap it up for the next 6 weeks, man. You know, everybody deserves a break, okay? Look, including me, and because the football season is what we are 82 days away from week 1, I think, of the NFL. I cannot wait. And when the Mean Gene Show returns in August, it will be preseason football here. And I know you're going to see Charles and Caleb back because, look, John, we got to talk about Nick Chubb in the backfield now.
yeah.
Ooh, man,
yeah.
the Texans are looking good, huh? And I know you've been trying to engage me about my Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, because you got sound bites of me trashing Aaron Rodgers for the last 10 years.
I definitely do.
and I'm not gonna shy away from it. But look, hey, I will hold my comments, okay, until August. You know, I will. But let's talk about Game 5, which is going to take place Monday night in OKC. And gentlemen, we basically looking at a best of 3 series here, okay? And all indications are that this thing is going to go 7 games, and OKC has Game 5 and 7 in OKC. If it does, Indy won Game 1 in OKC. And my question to you guys, Charles, we'll start with you: Can they do it again? Can they leave there Monday night with a 3-2 series lead?
Are you saying OKC or the Pacers?
I'm sorry, the Pacers.
The
I'm
Pacers?
sorry. Yes.
I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit. I'm gonna actually say the Pacers can do it, but it's key on this. Miles Turner needs to have a much better game. Clean up, get some of these rebounds. Stop getting out rebounded. Last game you had 2 rebounds in 30 minutes. What are we doing?
What
are we doing?
Diddly squat.
You know what I'm saying? What are we doing?
He's shooting threes.
He's shooting threes.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the first couple games he had, I want to say it was 15 and 9. The second one might have been 13 and 7 or something like
the first round of the playoffs.
No.
He
first,
was good.
First round he was good.
But he's dropped off a lot.
Now, granted, he's picked up a little defensively,
Yeah,
which is great.
yeah.
But be full circle, man. Get the rebounds because you need that. I don't want to see so many guard rebounds. Now, all that's great, but you play center. Get up under Chet, box him out, get some rebounds. And so I think if they can do that, if they can get their centers to actually rebound and get like just average points, if we can average around maybe 12 points, 13 points, that's cool. That'll be perfect. That'll be perfectly fine.
You know this is the new NBA, right? You want centers to rebound?
Yeah, I want centers to rebound, right?
Okay.
Pulling out, trying to shoot threes, man. But yes, Miles Turner, if you can get some rebounds, I think the Pacers are secure.
Okay.
Yeah, here's my thing. I as much as I do think that the Pacers can pull it out, I don't think they will. I just think that the Thunder, when you have a Tiger down or when you have him injured, you got to kill him, right?
Mhm.
Because if you don't kill him, he will come back and kill you. And that's the way I'm looking at the Thunder right now going up against the Pacers. I think what we saw in Game 4 was really a show from the big 3 of OKC plus Caruso. And I don't think Chet had his best offensive game, but he made his impact in different ways on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass. But I don't think that anybody has solved how to stop SGA.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will be able to solve that. I think what we're seeing the Pacers try to do is tire him out. You know, make sure he's not on the floor. Make sure he's working on both sides of the court, right? So I think what we saw last game was they're trying to hunt him some bit on defense to make him, tired when he gets the ball back on offense. But I think Dagenau, what we've seen from Jalen Williams, I think putting Hartenstein back in the starting lineup, I'm liking what the Thunder are doing. So I'm picking OKC to win Game 5. I think this series does probably go 7 though, because I think Indiana holds strong at home back in Game 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm still picking OKC for Game 5 and probably for the rest of the series.
Okay. I'm gonna piggyback on that with you, Caleb, because look, this crowd is gonna be energetic. It wasn't like they was not watching what happened last night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That crowd up there, and I've said this many times, I have watched a lot of OKC Thunder games up there through the years, not with this current team, but that place is so freaking loud, man.
Yeah.
That place is crazy loud up there. And I know that crowd, knowing, what they've experienced in game 3, seeing how they rebounded in game 4, they are going to be off the damn charts come Monday night here. And I do think, look, it's taken 4 games. Dagonaut did make the adjustment. For the life of me, I was shocked that he went back to the starting lineup. It worked. It might not seem like it worked because Hardenstein is not putting up numbers, but believe me, it worked. He got the results, and he was able to make the adjustments with SGA, getting this guy to play off the ball. And anytime you can when he stepped it up in that fourth quarter, they outscored them at home 32-18 in that fourth quarter. I actually think they're going to come out there Monday night, and we've seen some crazy games with OKC. I think they're going to beat the brakes off them Monday night.
Oh, wow.
I really do. You just see, look, this team is so crazy. We've seen Minnesota beat them by 42 points.
Mm-hmm.
They just take a swing. We've seen Denver beat the brakes off of them, and then they come right back. But I think right now, I think they feel it. I think they know the difference between 3-1 and 2-2. And I think SGA had said something about it. Last night was close to being 3-1.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they know they got this second life, so to speak. I think they're going to win it. I think you're going to see big game. I think you're going to see a big game. Jalen Williams plays better at home for some reason.
He does.
I think Holmgren is going to play a better game at home. I think OKC wins big. John, what you think? Game 5 Monday night.
Yeah, I think OKC is probably going to piggyback off of that boost there they got at the end of that game with that comeback. I think they're going to definitely take that. But I agree with I'm so sorry, I blanked on your name. Caleb. I'm sorry. I agree with Caleb. They're gonna hold steady at home. That crowd for Indiana has been amazing. So when they go home, I think they have that there. I still think OKC takes game 5 and the series.
We won 7 games. Come on, what the hell are we gonna do for the next?
I know it.
Right? We won't have any. The NBA draft is not. Wait a minute. It's not until the 26th, I think, of June in Brooklyn. That's going to be exciting. Maybe the Knicks will have a head coach by then, Charles.
Yeah, hopefully, right? And so now, I am with you guys. I hear what you're saying with OKC, and that arena is like a college town.
Yeah,
like every time I see it
it's brutal.
Yeah, I've never been there physically, but every time I see it, like I say, standing up from tip off, and they up for like the first 10 minutes of the game, they won't sit down at all. And so that crowd is intense. And I know I said my pick is very contingent, and it's hard to say. So you're depending on your win on Miles Turner, like you know what I mean. And Miles Turner, I should have mentioned an aggressive Halliburton because we didn't get that last game. But we got that in game.
He tried. Defense just shut him down.
Shut him down.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping in game 5, if we can get Miles Turner, if I can get Miles Turner to actually rebound and Tyrese to actually be rolling downhill, like he likes to have the ball in the hand and floaters, layups, things like that. If I get him slashing, I think we have a different game.
We haven't mentioned Pascal Siakam's name a lot. I know he tried to get going last night, and he could be another one of those X factors because look, here's a guy that's won the championship, the only one on that Indiana team, I do believe. So he's got to be feeling it too. He's got to be probably talking to that team right now, telling them, what it's going to take to go in there and get one. So I wouldn't be surprised if. And I do say if Indiana wins, that he wouldn't have a significant role.
Yeah, he was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, quiet as kept. He's been the most consistent scorer on that team. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Siakam makes his imprint. But I just think the Thunder, I think they found their mojo. This series has been the closest we've ever seen them play. They're used to blowing teams out. So I think they're found their mojo.
Yeah, I think so. I'm with Gina. I'm with you. If they do steamroll the Pacers, I believe the series is over. Yeah. Like even if they just win and the Pacers just kind of lose, I still think it's a series. But if they steamroll
on Monday night, the series is over. I think like Caleb said, it set it up. That what it set it up. Last night game kind of set that up. So, all right, look here. Hey, tomorrow's Father's Day. I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and just make sure we get our due. We get shortchanged on Father's Day. There's no long lines at Denny's or any other restaurants. You could just walk in there and
Denny's, special Father's Day deal.
yeah. Look here, man, we got to get our day tomorrow. So happy Father's Day to everyone, and look, enjoy your weekend. And don't forget Game 5 of the NBA Finals Monday night. And we're going to get out of here. The Mean G Show will be back in August. I want to thank Charles, Caleb, John B. See you in August, baby.
See you in August.
All right, folks. Hey, have a great one. It's the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town. Oh.